Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition of Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew, the EWC regular season finale preview. No Jordon Lawrenz today. I'm Drew Skyberg, and you guys know the drill. We're talking EWC football. That means we got Mr. EWC himself on, Robert Shimek from EWC Sports. And Robert, how you doing? But first, before you answer that, we just watched the dreadful ending to the Brewer game. Very sad stuff, but I'm still going to ask you, how you doing?
I'm actually doing great. Yeah, it sucks the Brewers lost, but we got some exciting football this week, and we got some exciting stuff to talk about. So I won't let that damper the show.
Yeah, indeed we do. But yeah, enough about the Brewers. We'll talk about that on Monday's episode 32. But we got some good EWC football action coming up for Week 9, and it's as good as it gets. It really is. We'll leave the game of the week for the end, which you guys by now you guys will know what it is. And let's get into it right away here, Robert. First, we're gonna start with October 15th. That's Friday. That's Week 9, and we got New Holstein visiting TR. So that's going to be an interesting game with TR coming in. TR is 5-3. New Holstein is 4-4, and both teams have the same conference record. So this game is basically for third place in the conference. So I mean that's basically what this game has for implications, and a little bit for playoffs as well. With New Holstein loses, Robert, do we still see them getting in at 4-5?
Yeah. Right now, I believe they're projected to make it in Travis Wilson's projected playoff appearance or playoff berth, teams with playoff berths right now. This game, I mean, there's 3 games that really matter this week, and this game really matters. I think I'll be very interested to see, because Two Rivers, it's been a tale of 2 seasons. A switch flipped halfway during the season, and they look like as good as any team that's playing right now. And New Holstein, they've been a little bit of everything this year. Still going to play great defense. But, yeah, I don't know. I just think if New Holstein loses, because right now Valders has a spot in the playoffs, and really it's looking like whoever's going to win between Valders and Chilton's going to get in. So New Holstein, it would appear both of those, New Holstein will get in because they're going to be in D5. Even if they lose, it'll still be very close, and they could easily be one of the first teams out. But that'll very late Friday night and Saturday morning, that'll be a situation to keep your eyes on.
Yeah, it really will. And we'll talk about the Valders and Chilton game later. Who do you see winning this game? I got TR. I think it'll be a closer game, but I got TR. I mean, Chase Mathias, can't say enough about him. He has a shot for over 2,000 yards rushing this year. And against this tough New Holstein defense, he might get it, he might not, but it'll be close.
Oh, yeah, give me Two Rivers. And not to take any shots here, not to say anything, but I'm buying that Chase Mathias is getting to that 2,000 yard mark. Not to say that any of his stats are overinflated, but they kind of are. They're gonna make sure he gets that, and Chase Mathias deserves it. He deserves getting that 2,000. He's been running like a beast this year. He's the best running back in the conference. He does it all. He does it all on defense. He's a great leader for that team. He's the face of their team. He definitely deserves getting that 2K rushing yards. And he'll be over at all-purpose yards, or rushing and receiving yards. He'll be over it anyways. But, yeah, no, he definitely deserves it. I really hope he gets it. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Good for him. Go Chase Mathias. And he's had such a phenomenal sophomore season. It's crazy. I just said he's a sophomore, so he's got 2 more years left in the EWC to wreak some havoc. But we'll move on to the next game here. Kiel visiting Roncalli. And this game, Kiel's sitting at 4-4, so I'd assume with a win they'd be in at 5-4. Not sure necessarily, but Roncalli, I mean, it's been a tough year. 22 points scored, 276 allowed, and they're sitting at the 0-8 record and just not looking good. This should be an easy win for Kiel. And yeah, so I back to the playoff implications here, Robert. You think? I mean, we'd assume Kiel wins this game. They'd be in at 5-4 then, right?
Well, I don't think they'll be in just because they'll be 3-4 in conference. So they won't win. They won't have a winning record because non-conference doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. And
so I mean, it'd be close, but they are in D4. As I looked, we mentioned earlier. Right now, Valdez is projected a playoff team, and Chilton has the same record. So if the tiebreakers hold out what Travis Wilson thinks, Chilton or Valdez, whoever wins that game, will be in. It does not seem that way for Kiel in Division 4. There's more teams. The tiebreakers don't play out the same way. So unlike New Holstein or Two Rivers, it's not really winning you're in. A lot of stuff would have to go right. And Kiel's going to win. Valdez is way better than Roncalli, and Valdez proved that they beat Kiel last week. But Roncalli is just not even close to Valdez. So I don't see how Kiel loses, but they'll have to sit by their computers tight early Saturday morning, late Friday night, and I don't know. I don't think they will get in.
Yeah, I based on what you said, it makes sense based on the division they're in. And let's move right into the next game here. This game would be the game of the week in any other week, but just how certain implications, how things happen, it's not. Valor's going to Chilton for the Battle of 151, Highway 151. And Valor's, if they win this game here, like you said, you mentioned it, Valor's wins, they're in. If Chilton wins, they're most likely in as well, which this is going to be a good game, I think. And both these teams are pretty evenly matched here. Both sitting 2-4 in conference. And yeah, this Valor's team, they've only put up 71 points this year, and they've allowed 195. Both of those are for the points scored, that's the second least in the conference, and for points allowed, it's second most. So interesting with this Valor's team here. But they're coming off a big win against Kiel, so who cares about that? And yeah, they just got to keep the momentum up. If they can win this game, like you said, they're in. And who do you think wins this game here, Robert?
So I definitely think this is a close game. And, in the last 15 minutes here, I've kind of went back and forth both ways. I'm still not 100% sure, but what I do know is I think these are two underrated teams. They're not to the level of the top 4 teams of the conference. We've seen that over the course of the year, but Valdez, you got a guy in Schoenberger on the defensive side of the ball. Holy smokes, that dude can tackle. He can hit. He's the best tackler in the conference. He's probably the best. He's the best defensive player in the conference. So I'm kind of projecting Chilton likes to throw. So if Chilton's going to win, Alex Breckheimer's got to be on his game, and he's got to be dialing up passes, and he's got to find Warren Wilcox and Zach Hallbach. They got to find those two guys down the field. And, he does like to run, Alex Breckheimer. I noticed that he does run pretty well. He's a great athlete. He's a top 10 player in this conference. But Schoenberger, too, I think if they shadow him, they don't let him run, they make it havoc. He did throw 4 interceptions against Brillion just a week ago. So I think if Valdez can get him pressured and get him running around and force him to do some stuff, that's where it could go. On the other side, though, Chilton, like I said, they have in spurts passed the ball very well. Their defense actually kind of impressed me when I watched them last week against Brillion. Brillion's, not known for their great offense, but they are the second highest scoring in the conference. I just think this one, it's one of those things where who makes the plays in the second half and who just makes the bigger plays in the game. Like we saw Valdez last week. They returned a kick. They returned a punt deep into Kiel territory. They had a trick play where I think Jeffrey to Cole Holvey on a toss pass. They just made some plays like that were just bigger in the end, and their defense did just enough to only give up 2 scores to Kiel, and then they won the game. So I just think those plays in the end, whoever makes one more of those, not trick plays, but just big game-changing plays, that's who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I can totally go with that too here, Robert. Hopefully this Valor's offense, they can get something going, keep the momentum going here, and hopefully they get some good stops out of their defense as well. You mentioned Schoenberger, and he's come a long way. Last year he showed some great flourishes. It's just an incredible defensive player, and this year he had the full season at linebacker to really display that, and he's done it all. There's a lot of great things you can say about him, and I think, just looking at stats and like, I think he should be Conference Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, we're not doing the awards show yet. We'll probably say that for another episode, but right now he's my Defensive Player of the Year. And I mentioned in preseason as a sleeper here. So I think it's him right now, but let's move on to the game of the week. And this game, oh my goodness, this game is just, it doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't. We got the 7-1 Brilliant Lions heading to Kohler to face the 8-0 KLC Chargers. And this game decides who's the winner of the Eastern Wisconsin Conference in 2021 for the football season. And it's going to be crazy. I don't know who I have winning this game, Roberts. And we know you as the big Brilliant fan. So what do you got on Brilliant here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm from Brilliant. I played in Brilliant. And, I'd like to see them win, but I really think it's anyone's game. And remember, whoever's listening to this, if you already haven't, you got to go vote for the Quick Trip Game of the Week. Not just to promote those two teams, but as a conference. And if you want to check updates during the game, Travis Wilson, the best media coverage reporter, we'll call him, in the state of Wisconsin for high school football, will be there giving you videos, updates, interview. Who knows? He'll just be giving you updates the whole game. So vote that game so we can get those updates. Right now, Monroe and Edgewood is beating them by about 50 votes. So tomorrow will be a big day. It's the last day you can vote. Just do that right now. But yeah, this game, I've thought about it for a while, and I really, there's so many aspects and there's so many variables to this game that can go either way, that just changes the game. Does Kohler get up early, forcing Brilliant to try to pass and get frantic and try to do stuff that they're not used to? Does Brilliant slow the game down and get Kohler all excited, force a turnover, get them all, behind early? My thought in this game is everyone is looking at the 49 odd points KLC's scoring every week. Everybody's looking at the 2 touchdowns Brilliant's given up in conference all year. I'm not looking at either of those things. I'm looking at the other side of the ball. What will Brilliant's offense do in this game, and what will KLC's defense do? Because I think whoever plays better in those sides, if Brilliant can play better offense than that KLC defense, they're going to win the game. Because we both know Brilliant will make plays on defense and KLC will make plays on offense. But I think if Brilliant can come out here, they're strong. They got all their players healthy. When they played Kiel, when they played New Holstein, when they played Roncalli, their 2 running backs, their best 2 running backs were not healthy and were not playing offense. Actually, when they played Kiel, just for the first half they were, the second half they weren't. They were not playing on offense, so the offense was not as fluid, but they're in a rhythm now. They had 2 games now where they were playing together. So that's my thing. If the Brilliant offense can score high 30s, low 40s, like they have shown they can all season, and last year, I know they didn't have Michael. They scored 55 on KLC last year, but they can score up there. Brilliant, I like Brilliant. If Brilliant struggles to score and has to play from behind, I like KLC all day. I'm not going to come out and make a prediction just because whatever I do, I'm sure it'll be wrong. Whatever I do, I'm sure I'll get a bunch of hate for it. And maybe I should make a prediction, but right now I just can't. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I want to add something to that. And at the end of this episode, I am going to make you make a prediction. As much as you don't want to, I'm going to make you. But right now, what I was thinking kind of the same way you were. Like, we know Brilliant's the more aggressive team than KLC by far. And I mean, last year we mentioned Robbie Michael wasn't there, but Brilliant took it to them, and they really did. And just if this KLC defense can just step up just stop the run against Brilliant and try to force them to pass. And I like KLC and I like Brilliant here. I like them both incredible teams this year. And my concern with KLC though is just how aggressive are they going to play? I mean, how like this is team, they had one senior last year, so a lot of these guys they were on that team last year were starting last year in that defeat, so they know what it's like, and I'm in the same way you are right now, Robert. I don't know who wins this game. I could see Brilliant winning it. I can really do it, but I can also see KLC maybe winning in a shootout, which might sound bold there with even though it's Brilliant's defense.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm gonna let you go first.
I'll just break down the game a little more. I mean, assuming we have time.
Yeah, of course.
But there's a couple things that just I've watched. I think I've watched 2 games. I've watched the TR game that KLC played, and I watched the New Holstein, a little bit of the start of the New Holstein game. So I watched that one full game against Two Rivers. And KLC fans, KLC players would probably tell you that's their worst game just because it was the closest. But I think early in that game, TR, they got on them early. TR was winning, and then it was a tie game, but TR ran the ball really well. Obviously, they got Matthias, but they ran the ball and controlled the ball for a long period of time in that game. And then when KLC did get it, they had a lot of penalties. They obviously had a lot of offense, a lot of great plays. They came back to win. But I was just surprised at how much they use. Obviously, I see it in the stats, but how much they really use Robbie Michael running and how much they throw just that bubble screen to Gerdakis. I knew they threw it a lot to him, but I was just surprised that they're not throwing it farther down the field. And maybe you will see that this week. Maybe they've just been saving stuff. They don't need to do it against some inferior opponents in the EWC. But that was just a couple things that I saw. So obviously Brilliant, they're one of the best running teams in the conference. They have, I think, 6 different running backs. Well, they have 5 different running backs, and their quarterback does run from time to time. So it's, Sam Galoff doesn't have big numbers like he maybe did last year. He doesn't have these gaudy games that maybe Matthias is having, but he's not carrying the ball a ton. He's going to be fresh. Kotarabik and Stabani are blazing fast. Bennett Olson, Jaden Bastion, Maverick Noor carries the ball a little bit too. Those are 3 other guys that all have a lot of attempts on the season. So you're just going to see a lot of running. And Brilliant can pass when they have to, but those were a couple things that stood out to me. I'll let you add anything else if you want to. I still got to think of my exact prediction. I might just set a line, and I don't know. I don't know what I want to do yet.
Okay, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a high scoring game. I'm just gonna go straight up and say, I think I know about Brilliant's defense. I still think it's gonna be a high scoring game. Just with KLC's offense, and I think Brilliant will be able to put up points as well. So, I think if we put up a line, I think that's the best way to do this here. It's too close.
So do you want to set a line in and over? I mean, not that we're trying to influence sports books or gamble, but like, do you want to set an over under as well? Because you think it's going to be a high scoring game. So
yeah, whatever we set the over for, which I got to think of something right now, but I take the over on that. But I think if we do a line, I think that's fair. And I want to hear what your line is right now. Put you on the spot.
Want to hear my line?
Yeah.
You're not going to like this.
I might agree with you, so let's hear it.
My line's a pick 'em right now.
Pick 'em.
And I'm not saying that just because I can't decide on a winner, because you know who I'm gonna pick to win. But there's no. I just see it. There's so many variables, and I think they kind of even out during the game, where KLC is going to have some great offensive plays. They're going to make some mistakes on offense. Brilliant's going to control the clock, I think, good in this game, though. And I think the Brilliant staff knows that they have to do that. So I think you saw Brilliant in the Kiel and New Holstein games. They had a lot of drives where they sustained, and they've made some tough stops on 4th, and which that's another thing I noticed. KLC's not afraid to go for it. 4th and 14 at midfield, which is, I love it. I personally love it when teams play aggressive. But that's the also thing. But I just think it's too hard to tell. In the conference like this, when you play so many in like weaker teams, then you play your better teams at different times of the year, and people are injured. You really cannot compare what happened in those games. But actually, so I'm gonna change my line to KLC -2.
Wow.
That's gonna be my line.
Okay. And I'm just gonna pick a favorite here. You know what? I'm gonna go for it. I say Brilliant wins this game, and I say they win it. It's gonna be let's pick a score right now. I say it's gonna be something pretty basic. It might be like 49-42, maybe 49. Yeah, I'm gonna go shootout here, Robert. I'm gonna go really bold here. I say Brilliant's gonna put up 49 points. This might be terrible choice here, but we gotta go bold here. And I'm gonna predict KLC's gonna be able to put some points up, and it might not be a shootout like that. And we'll see. But I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, to comment on that.
Yeah.
If Brilliant scores 49 points, I am taking Brilliant 100% just because I don't see how Brilliant's defense gives up 50 points. I don't think it's possible when TR gives up 28 and Brilliant scored 41 in 3 quarters on TR.
Yeah,
it's so. If I'm picking a winner, I think Brilliant's got him by a score, and it's more like a 28-21 game.
Okay, and you know what?
Just because
how about this? I bump mine down. Yeah, I hate to interrupt, but I'll bump mine down then. I still think it's going to be a high scoring, maybe not 49-42, but you know, I'm thinking both these teams are going to be able to put some points up because I just like how Brilliant can run the ball. I'll move it down, but I'm still going to choose high scoring. I'm going to go 35-28. I'm still going to say it's going to be something like that. A team's going to win by a touchdown. And I think if it's not, yeah.
And hold on. I mean, a 49-42 game is in the realm of possibilities. You get a team like Brilliant who might have to play some catch up, or they have a pick six, or heck, KLC's got to play catch up where they start slinging it out and all sorts of magic stuff starts happening. You definitely could see a score like that. I'm not saying that. I just think in this game, like for example, we saw it last year with New Holstein. New Holstein had the game won. I believe the final score was like 51-50.
That's what I was thinking
51.
Of. Yeah.
So like in New Holstein was very good last year. Like I think New Holstein was a little underrated last year, and they didn't get as much respect as they deserved. They were a really good defense. Brilliant escaped with a win against them last year, week 1. That's my only thing, though. I just think when these two teams clash, there's going to be big offensive plays. There's going to be big defensive plays. And I think when it comes down to it, I think Brilliant will just eat too much clock where I don't know if 49 points or 50 points is gettable for KLC, which I don't know. I'll say this. My last point on the teams, I think what it depends on is what the Brilliant offense does. The Brilliant offense comes out and is, not to say they will be, but if they're a little slow, if they, have a 3-and-out right away, if they don't score on that first drive, and KLC does, if Brilliant's forced to throw, I like KLC in this one. If Brilliant's not, and Brilliant is being able to run and they have that lead and they have the ball, give me Brilliant. I just think it's all up to that Brilliant offense. And that's the thing I think people are worrying about the least amount in this game, but I think it has the best impact.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I think this Brilliant offense, that's kind of with my big score at the start. And both the scores I chose are kind of big scores here. And I just with the Brilliant offense, if they're going to be up tempo, if they're going to run the ball and they're going to be able to just like keep running the ball and maybe sling a few passes, I think they could put up a good chunk of points in this game. But we'll have to wait and see how this game fares and just how Brilliant handles KLC and how KLC handles Brilliant. So, Robert, you got any other final comments? Basically, we don't know who's going to win, and this is one of the tighter games that we've had to predict ever, and we still don't know who's going to win. So anything else, Robert?
This has to be, since the conference have realigned. I mean, I'm trying to think of a bigger game. There's obviously been maybe closer game or been games just as like evenly matched. KLC, Sheboygan Falls Kiel was a pretty big one a couple years ago. I remember like a Valdez New Holstein one was really close. It came down to the end. Was that an overtime game when Fletcher Dallas ran that touchdown in, or
it was homecoming 2-point conversion to end the game?
Okay,
it was like
conversion.
Last play of the game. It was 14-13, and instead of going to overtime for the extra point, they went for 2 to win it.
Wise, yeah. I obviously have trouble remembering, like 5-6 years ago when the conference started, but in recent history, the past 3 years, probably this is definitely the most intriguing game that's happened in the EWC. And the reason I really don't want to give a prediction is because I think by Friday it will change several times. I think I will just feel differently when I'm at the game. Like I can't. Right, maybe if it was the day of the game, I could give a better prediction. Right now, I really haven't watched these teams too close. I've watched KLC one game, probably their worst game. So that's where I don't really like making a projection here. But no, I mean, for right now, is there anything else you want to talk? I don't know. We probably don't have a lot more time remaining. You want to keep this short here, but is there anything else you want to go over while I'm here?
Well, I just want to say one more thing here. I mean, I'm rooting for a good game here. We had Robbie Michael on the show. I'm a big fan of him. He does some great things, of course, on the field, and just he was a great interview as well. So we're definitely rooting for KLC here. I'm rooting for Brilliant. I just wanted to throw out a score to give a prediction, and I'm sure you guys will see Jordan's bold predictions for Friday's Instagram. So be sure to comment up there when he gets the prediction wrong, because that's always some good fun. But yeah, I mean, Robert, you want to shout yourself out?
Yeah, just obviously, like I said, I think last time we were at about 890 on the EWC page. We're up to 946 in about 3 or 4 weeks. And so I think by basketball season, we get that to 1,000. That would be great. That'd be pretty cool, just starting that up from scratch and getting 1,000 people following it. So that's just EWC_sports on Instagram. And yeah, like you said before about the game this week, I'm from Brilliant, but obviously I'm an EWC fan. I want a good game. I want a fair game. I don't want anyone to get injured. I don't want anyone to. I want to come down to the wire and have 2 teams and see who's the true better team. And yeah, big Robbie Michael guy, big Colin Gerdakis guy. Obviously a big Brilliant guy, and there's so many great players in this game, and like Chris Collinsworth always says, boy, are we in for a treat.
Indeed we are, Robert. And now it's time to shout out the socials for the podcast. You guys know the drill. Facebook, Jordan and Drew the Sports Crew. Instagram, Jordan Drew _Sports Crew. YouTube, Jordan and Drew the Sports Crew. And yeah, thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Jordan and Drew the Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for